Thank you, Bishop. If I might, I'd like to offer just a short reflection about the installation service on Wednesday night. I, for one, was completely unprepared for the emotions I felt during the installation service on Wednesday night. Before the covenant portion even began, tears began streaming down my cheeks. I cried all through the promises, the presentation of the signs of Bishop Elaine's ministry, and much of her Episcopal address. I cried because I felt the power and weight of what she is called to do, to be pastor and servant, to hold the body of Christ in unity, to be a means of reconciliation and healing. I felt overwhelmed at the thought that a person, even with God's help, could ever make such promises. It is almost inconceivable to me, and I can imagine it can only be done under the miraculous power of God and the indefatigable, undeterred leading of God's Spirit. But I also cried tears of joy for every feminine pronoun in the service, knowing that at one time they all said he or him and had to be intentionally changed. In a year in which my gender has seemed a greater liability than ever, to see the stole placed on a woman's body, to see her hand holding the shepherd's staff, refreshed my spirit, which was far more parched than I had realized. I cried tears of relief that while I had never seen a woman pastor before I went to seminary, my daughter knows a woman bishop. She will never wonder whether God could possibly call her into ministry, whether God could possibly have her do the work of mothering and pastoring at the same time, whether she could possibly be a successful leader in the church, even without a booming baritone voice. I cried tears of awe for the power God has to change a world that would appear in so many ways doomed to repeating the same mistakes until the spirit of the people is broken and they just give up. I cried tears of wonder, admiration, reverence, and even disbelief at the power of God, the humility of God, the imagination of God to use people like us, people like Elaine, people like me, to bring life to the world. Perhaps Wednesday night was not an historic moment for everyone, but it was monumental to me. And I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's stand up for Elizabeth. My goodness. We're standing up for Elizabeth as much as we are for anything else. You bring tears to my eyes, Elizabeth. We lose track of the path that we walked to get to where we are. And last night I had requested one of the songs that was sung in the service. It's the one whose words were, "I'll build an altar built of the stones I have found here. I'll lay them down here, rough as they are." That's who we are. We're all the rough stones that God has put into the world to bear witness to what we can be, to what God would have us be. It's a terrific privilege and a humbling privilege day by day to live into that reality and not to pretend that we're anything but those rough stones. So it's a deep privilege to be in ministry with you, and I give you thanks. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your witness.
children of God. Let us not never fear what we shall be. But we know that when God appears, but we know